We are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back with the UFC Breakdown Show live with Lewis of Norton MMA. This weekend, it is UFC Fight Night. Calvin Kattar versus Josh Emmett. So they couldn't find any Texas guys to headline the Texas show, but they did have the only two ranked fighters on the card headlining, so that's good. But still, really interesting card. Even more interesting betting lines here because there's a lot of wide betting lines on this card here. But before we get into it, Lewis of Norton MMA, how are you?
I'm good. There's the main card to me. This is like a pay-per-view for me. For hardcore MMA fans, I think they're going to be very, very pleased with this card when you've got Adrianas on a prelim.
Ismagulov versus Kudaledze, which could headline pretty much anything outside of the major three organizations.
There's a couple fights. I don't know why they're so high up on the card, but get to that.
Oh yeah, the order. Well, that's the classic UFC thing. They have all sorts of weird orders. I mean, like it's a great segue. We can kind of just get right into it because the first fight of the night features a guy who just won a co-main event in his last go around by finish, and I believe he got a bonus for that finish. And Kyle Dawkins. So we can go ahead and jump into this. Timestamps will be available afterwards. But Kyle Dawkins fighting to open up the card after a pretty good performance against short notice Jamie Pickett. I don't know about you, but I still count his performance against Holland as at least a positive performance, even though
it's positive. But I don't think you should read too much into
my bad. It's the second fight.
Even
sorry, so. They put him beginning of the fight after a coma.
But even so, that's still fight pass.
And the guy that he beat with that headbutt was is in the co-main event. It's all sorts of backwards weird. You know, what can I say? If you don't get caught with the headbutt, though, you might win a fight. Shout out to Valentina. So their most effective strike of the fight, winning her that amazing. But either way, Phil Hawes, actually, before we get to Kyle Dawkins, but Phil Hawes, the ever prospect against Duron Nguyen. This fight's been scheduled like 3 or 4 times for whatever reason. I guess they really want to see this fight. I don't really know. I think it's a pretty weird fight. Glove touch. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, buddy. It's also my birthday.
Happy birthday, man. Double birthday.
Exactly. Shout out to the June 15th birthdays out there. I really do need to get a pop-up blocker, I'm realizing, because all these pop-ups are getting worse and worse here. Saints Row coming up here. But, yeah, we're starting with Phil Hawes and Duron Nguyen here. This is just a weird fight. Duron Nguyen 7-2, Phil Hawes 11-3. Yet both these guys, to me, feel like kind of disappointments so far in their UFC runs. Phil Hawes has that win over Jacob Malkoun that now looks a lot better. He was robbed against Brendan Allen, in my opinion, this weekend as well. I did bet on Brendan Allen, so I'll live with it. But so that win's a little better for Hawes. But overall, both these guys, I just feel like have not been able to quite translate yet. Duron Nguyen has I believe the UFC middleweight record for most significant strikes landed in a fight a few fights ago, which I think is really kind of random and weird. But he's known for his wrestling. He's known for being 5'6" and having trouble making 185. Fought his last fight at a catchweight against Arroyo of 195. Beat Arroyo. Arroyo's no longer in the UFC. He lost to Darren Stewart, lost to Gerald Meerschaert, where Gerald Meerschaert was kicking the shit out of him before he submitted him. Duron Nguyen gassed hard in his last fight. Yeah, he always gasses hard. It's just one of these things. He took a 195 bout last time, so you've got questions about his cardio. He's got to get on the inside, and against a guy like Hawes, I just think the wrestling is canceled out from these two. They're kind of commiserate MMA wrestlers, at least. I know Duron Nguyen probably has the better wrestling pedigree, but Phil Hawes, he's got good power for the first few minutes of a fight. He has been able to go to a few decisions, which has, I think, been good for his own kind of mental standpoint. He's coming off a loss. He's with Sanford. 33 years old now, so nothing wrong with that. But in the fight game, definitely getting up there. Lost Petrosky last time out, got knocked out by Chris Curtis in front of me, Action Man, in New York City. This is just kind of one, unless Hawes's chin is just that bad. Like, I just think that the only way Duron Nguyen wins this fight is if he crashes the distance and lands like a ugly, like overhand right Mike Rousseau style, kind of just like catching the right spot on the chin on Hawes, which is a big spot on his chin. It's like the whole thing pretty much. I'll go with Hawes. You're crazy if you're betting this fight. This is an appropriate opener. These guys are fighting for their jobs. This is going to probably be ugly if it's not finished early by Hawes. I'm going to go with Hawes. I don't like his odds at all. I think this is probably a pretty close fight. But
why is Hawes fighting for his job? I thought he's done all right so far, and he was winning.
Two straight losses. A busted prospect.
One straight loss. He's only lost.
One loss. Yeah, he lost. The other one was a grab. But still, like, I don't know. I just don't think
he beat Imavov. I mean, he beat Imavov.
Yeah, maybe not.
That and Malkoun have on your record now. Even
yet here he is fighting on the opener of a random fight night.
Yeah, so. I wonder if there's other things in play there, whether he's being difficult for the UFC or anything like that. Something unfight
that won't
related.
Keep him around too long either.
Yeah, exactly. He was winning the Chris. I know you were gutted for me because I didn't bet on your man Chris Curtis, but I bet on Phil for that fight. He was whooping his ass for about 4 minutes until he completely gassed everything out of him, and then his obviously when his chin is exposed, he's just going to get knocked out.
Gas against a guy on like 3 days' notice.
Exactly. It's that's what worries me, but I do not rate Nguyen at all. Like, I think he's not UFC caliber to me. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's Hawes all day, unless Nguyen suddenly turns up his wrestling even better, which I don't see him doing because again,
Nguyen's wrestling's a rumor at this point. Appreciate it, Bonnie.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It is a rumor. That's a good way to put it. But yeah,
it's a rumor. Like, yes, he can wrestle when he has to only focus on wrestling. I really don't like that he's coming off of a 195 fight in his last fight.
Will he make weight? That should be a bet. Will he make the weight?
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, Justin saying he likes Nguyen as a dog here. That's fair. I'm not betting anything on this at all. Phil Hawes is at a minus. He opened at minus 260. He's pretty much stayed there. I'm seeing minus 300 on a few sites, but minus 260, you can get Duron Nguyen for a plus 210. I mean, I can understand taking a shot on the dog. I can't understand betting or being super behind Phil Hawes at that price, though. This is going to be a weekend where there's going to be a 1, 2, 3 dogs at least. And with these prices, you just kind of got to find the right ones to get behind. For me, I think there's better dogs on this card. So I'll still take Hawes to get the finish, but not super confident in it at all. So next fight is another 185 fight, and this is featuring Kyle Daukaus. So from co-main event, bonus winning finish for Kyle Daukaus to the second fight on a random fight night from Endeavor Center in Austin, Texas. Go figure. Kind of weird matchmaking here, but a pretty interesting fight. I will say that. Kyle Daukaus versus Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze, another one of these guys with a lot of alleged, credentials, not even alleged, legit credentials coming into the UFC, a really accredited grappler. Also was a little bit accredited with USADA, which is why there was about a 2 to 3 year waiting period for Roman Dolidze to get into the UFC. He came into the UFC and he's looked fine. But it's not the prince we were promised, so to speak. He put away Hadsid Ibrahimov, whatever, Hadsid, or just not a good fighter there. And just overall, Roman is kind of struggles to kind of transfer between the striking and the grappling. He's kind of in a striking mode or a grappling mode. He also, kind of just hasn't blown me away. His loss to Trevin Giles was definitely an eye opener for me as well. Trevin Giles now at 170, and for me, Delice is just he's, reminds me of like Rodolfo Vieira, these world-class grapplers who, when they get into MMA, they don't have the conditioning, they don't have the cardio to go 15 minutes while getting punched and grappled and wrestling and doing it all, putting it all together. They have like 3 minutes of their world-class skill. So this is kind of a spot for me that I feel Delice is going to come out, probably get a takedown or two in the first round against Kyle Dawkins. That would not surprise me at all. I think that he has a good chance of winning the first round. But for me, I haven't seen enough examples of him going for submissions that work in MMA. So I don't see him getting a submission in that first round. So now we're like, can Delice put together 10 to 15 minutes against a guy in Kyle Dawkins? And, I mean, Kyle Dawkins is legit in jiu-jitsu as well. We saw him hang in there with Brendan Allen in that debut, which was super impressive. Arguably won the last couple rounds in that fight. But either way, continues to show we don't need to count the Kevin Holland fight. That's fine. I get it. I credit a little more for that fight than a lot of people, but that might be my disdain for Kevin Holland. So I will always kind of acknowledge that. But I do think it's telling that Holland decided to lose 15 pounds instead of face Kyle Dawkins again, because they had that set up. They had ready to go. And I personally think Kyle would have won that fight again. So either way, I do think that Kyle got some good confidence just getting that win against Jamie Pickett, where he just made weight, no injuries coming into it, did what he was supposed to. I get it. Jamie Pickett's Jamie Pickett. Rowan Delice is not that great, in my opinion, either after 3 minutes. Might be a spot where you look at a live bet here, but I'm going to go with Kyle Dawkins to get the win, maybe even get the submission late in this fight, which I get would be controversial. I get that Roman's very accredited, but we've seen with these high credentialed grapplers before, cardio makes them white belts. So might sprinkle a little third round submission prop on Kyle, but I like Kyle in this fight. I think on the feet, huge advantage for Kyle Dawkins as well. So give me Kyle. He's going to be pissed fighting in the second fight, coming into this fight too. He's got to be just very confused.
Yeah, I personally think Kyle's got a ridiculous advantage on the feet. On the ground, his MMA grappling is superb, and he snatches necks. He should be the Hangman instead of Dan Hooker to me. He is so good at wrapping a neck up. I actually think Jamie Pickett would school Roman here. I think Roman has been exposed. I think the first time I saw him where he kind of looked out of his depth, but I know he got the win, but John Allen kind of did a number on him in round 2. And the pace he can kind of put on him just shuts him down immediately. I think Kyle's got serious explosivity with his striking. His grappling is really, really good. For the level he's kind of competing at the moment of an unranked middleweight, he's going to teach a lot of these guys lessons on the ground. So I've got Kyle as well. I think he was subbing pretty quick, to be honest. I think he's going to light him up on the feet. Roman's going to panic takedown.
You think he's going to sub him up pretty quick? Wow.
Yeah, I think Roman's going to panic takedown and get his neck snatched. He's good in a gi, man. That's pretty.
Yeah, and do you know Kyle Dawkins' nickname? This is new as far as I know. Do you know his new nickname?
Oh, the Dark Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. Has that been around for a minute?
I don't think so, because I was just.
Yeah.
I was
that's a good sign coming into this.
Yeah. I mean, he is an absolute clinic with that submission.
Yeah, and I personally I've thought it since both. I always like to look at brothers, whether it's the Lozon brothers, whether it's the Diaz brothers, which are probably an example closer to what the Dawkinses are. But for me, I think Kyle's the better Dawkins brother. Yet Chris all of a sudden kind of took the lead there for a minute, at least until
thinner division, isn't it? Thinner division.
Yeah, but still, I didn't think Chris was even going to do that well. I thought Chris, but Kyle's definitely impressed me throughout his career here. So yeah, I think this is a good spot for Kyle. We get to the odds, and I mean, again, the odds are crazy throughout this card, I think. And minus 235 on Kyle Dawkins, a plus 190 on Roman Delice. I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. And I do think it's a spot that you can live bet Kyle Dawkins, because I think he could lose the first round. I think Roman could have enough gas to win the first round. The other, caveat coming into this is hopefully JP Buys is not in attendance, because he is not too happy with Mr. Roman Delice at this point, who's now with his former wife. So anyways, just a little nugget that they're not going to mention and is totally irrelevant to this fight. All right, next fight is Bantamweights. Another weird one. This card is fun, but it's weird, especially at the beginning. I'll admit it. Eddie Wineland is, I don't know what to say about Eddie Wineland at this point. And Corey Stamen. I mean, these guys are both on long losing streaks at this point. I think both are on 3-fight losing streaks, if I'm not mistaken. Eddie Wineland is, at this point going for takedowns in the first round of his fights before getting knocked out. So, what's Eddie Wineland going to do in this fight? That being said, Corey Stamen has kind of gotten his wrestling a little bit exposed at this point. That he's going to be able to out-wrestle Eddie Wineland, though. It's just I'm not going to deep dive into this fight here. The odds have gotten out of control. I believe it's minus 450 for Corey Stamen. No one in their right mind is betting Corey Stamen at that price. But that being said, what are you betting Eddie Wineland to knock him out? Song Yadong did not knock out Cody Stamen. Sorry. Cody Stamen arguably won that Song Yadong fight. I was at it. But since then he has had a little bit of trouble putting together any sort of a run, basically. Stamen probably goes back to his wrestling here, just grounds him, rinses and repeats for 3 rounds. I just can't ever pick Corey Stamen to get a finish because he's not proven he's capable of doing that. And Eddie Wineland keeps his hands really low. Maybe this is the fight where Stamen discovers he can KO somebody because the chin will be available to get hit. But Stamen just wrestles him probably.
Yeah, I think Cody Stamen could strike with him as well, to be honest with you. Eddie's not evolved for a long, long time, and coming off 2 real hard knockouts in the first round, I know they're against top contenders. O'Malley Castaneda's got a lot of running time right now.
Cody Stamen is up to minus 550, by the way.
Yeah, I think Cody Stamen. I'm not judging his last performance against Said Nurmagomedov because that guy seems like he's a ninja and he's going to be the next big thing. But Merab, that is a wrestler. He's just nothing but a wrestler, Merab. So I'm not judging him too much on that. If that's the game plan, they're completely different fighters, him and Eddie. Eddie's a striker, so I think Cody's just gonna win a decision. Nice clear cut.
Yeah, minus 550, plus 400 on Eddie.
Eddie ain't winning a decision. And if you're
good about
Eddie's gonna knock him out
or get dominated.
I'm not confident Eddie can knock anybody out these days.
No, I agree. There's not much more that needs to be said. The first 4 fights of the night, a little bit tougher fights to really look at from a betting perspective. I just can't bet Cody Stamen at minus 550.
Also, Cody's never been knocked out, so it's another.
Yeah, exactly. But still, it's just it's a rough one. So the 5th fight of the night is the one I was talking about being rough, but I'm actually excited for this next fight here. 145, Danny Chavez versus Ricardo Ramos here, or Ramos, I should say. Should be a good fight here at 145. Danny Chavez, late starter to MMA, has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt as well, fights out of MMA Masters. Came into the UFC with a lot of his training partners saying how good he is in training and everything like that. He's another one that I haven't quite seen it transferred to the UFC so far in a way that I'm super blown away by. I think for the most part, this fight's going to be on the feet. Ricardo Ramos not training at Team Alpha Male for this fight camp, which I think should be noted. He's in Brazil. From what I could find of his training, a lot of striking in his training footage. So for Danny Chavez, I think the route for him to the upset, because he is significantly an underdog in this fight, is to wrestle Ricardo Ramos. I think that's what he needs to do to have a chance. I do not believe Danny Chavez has 15 minutes of MMA wrestling in him. I believe this fight's going to be on the feet, where Ricardo Ramos has a huge, huge advantage, in my opinion. As long as he doesn't get kind of crazy with his spins and everything, he kind of stays more composed in there, but I think Ricardo Ramos has a speed advantage. He has a reach advantage. He has a youth advantage. He has a cardio advantage. Danny Chavez is going to have to make this dirty and keep it dirty and use his wrestling. He's not shown to be doing that. He got to a draw against Kai Kamaka because Kai Kamaka gouged his eyes, kicked him in the dick like 4 times. Like there was a lot of things Kai Kamaka had to do to get that fight to a draw. So essentially you're coming into a Danny Chavez fight off a loss to Kai Kamaka. If you've watched any of my Bellator breakdowns, any of my UFC breakdowns, any of my Dana White Contender Series breakdowns, I am not a Kai Kamaka believer. It's paid off very well. And for Danny Chavez here, I think Ricardo Ramos is a much more dynamic, tough out here. The cardio is going to be tough for Danny. And for Danny to win this fight, I think he's got to wrestle, which is something he hasn't shown he's willing to do. Give me Ricardo Ramos in this fight, and I'll say by decision, but I could see a KO. So I like Ricardo Ramos, though.
I also think Ricardo Ramos has fought much better competition.
Yeah, we can go to that now, too. Definitely.
Yeah, like Tukukov, is that how you say his name? I can't remember. The guy that also fought Lerone Murphy, and he's fought Lerone Murphy. Like, going to decision with him is very, very tough. You know, I know he got knocked out by Lerone Murphy, but Lerone is
26 versus 35 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lerone's one of the up-and-comers in the UK. He's one of our highest prospects. So you've got a lot of experience within the UFC. He's been in the UFC for, I want to say, like 5-6 years. It's been a while. So since he was like 21, I just think he's got more than enough to beat Danny Chavez. I don't rate him too highly, but he's only got 1 win in the UFC. I mean, getting a draw against Kai Kamaka, I know you should be beating Kai Kamaka. You should be.
Kai Kamaka's losing out of the UFC too.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think Danny Chavez is fighting for a job here as well. This is one of the ones where it's like, why is Carl Dorcas not at this level of why is he so low down and this one's 3 fights higher? So yeah, I've got Ricardo Ramos quite comfortably in this one.
Yeah, it's just you look overall and, Ramos, he really took, kind of a kind of level of competition getting into the UFC. The win over King.
And he was 21 when he was 21. So
yeah, and he was, at Bantamweight originally, moved up to 145. I really liked how he looked against Journey Newsom. Newsom was a very good fight there. Both guys have, kind of gotten exposed by Said Nurmagomedov. But, yeah, either way, I just think that, yeah, the level of competition is with Ramos. The fight camp is a little bit of an interesting factor for sure. I do think Chavez has to, go with the grappling, though, to have a chance. I think if he's trading in this fight, he's going to be significantly behind. Ramos is the favorite, as I said, and last I checked, a pretty decent favorite. Yeah, minus 300 favorite, plus 235 on Danny Chavez here. Ramos has more fights as well at a younger age. He's got about a 5-inch reach advantage. He's got a speed advantage. I think that this is a tough night for Chavez, in my opinion. I like Ricardo Ramos. Next fight is at 115 pounds. This was the other fight I was talking about. It was a little bit of a weird one. Gloria de Paula versus Maria Oliveira at 115 pounds. Sure. Not going to have a whole lot to say about this fight. I really just don't know what to think about either one of these girls too much at this point. I think Oliveira is one of the most uncredentialed fighters to be signed to the UFC currently. I don't know why she's here. In all honesty, she's got decent Muay Thai from what I've been able to see from the tape. Everything else looks to be a little bit lacking. Maybe she's a little bit bigger or longer in this spot just because Gloria de Paula is one of the smaller 115ers. But Gloria de Paula has good technique. I just think has a better overall grappling MMA upside to her game. I don't think either one of these fighters is incredible. We got 6-4 against 12-5. I mean, yeah, it's just Oliveira called Spider Girl because a promoter said that she reminded her of Anderson Silva. I'm not sure who that promoter is, but pretty crazy stuff. But either way, I think her best chance here is to kind of I don't really know. Use her striking, I guess. I mean, that's how she's going to win this fight. Anelia Tabosa was 0-0-0. Went by a different name when I watched the fight. I forgot what the name was, but knocked her out. It said with punches, it was knees. So Tapology says punches. She knocked her out with knees. But either way, I mean, she had the fight with Marina Rodriguez where Marina Rodriguez was just beating her up until she ran away and they stopped the fight. It's Marina Rodriguez, though. So, I mean, those are the positives for Oliveira. She's been in there with a decent to championship level opponent who beat her. But Gloria DePaula, nothing special either, but definitely I think gonna have an advantage when it comes to the grappling. I think that's probably where this fight mostly takes place, and she probably wins a decision. But yeah, I'm not crazy about this fight on either side.
No, I just think it's pretty calm. Gloria DePaula has fought actually UFC level competition of women, and you've got Oliveira, who's, if you just looked at, I thought Talia Santos had a stupidly padded record. This woman has fought the total wins of all her opponents to loss ratio is ridiculous.
Before the contender series, especially.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yep. Just like she's
0-0 girl got her into UFC.
0-0, and then as soon as she fights someone with like a decent record, she loses, and she doesn't just lose; she normally gets finished. So I've just clear cut. You only can predict what's happened in the past. I think Gloria DePaula is going to finish her. She's going to run right through her.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
her
you
record
can't really
should be like 4-4. That's what a record should really be.
Oliveira. Yeah. And you can't really, you can't really put a lot of money on low-level strawweights getting finishes. Gloria DePaula, I told you the odds are crazy. I consider these odds pretty crazy, even though I'm not going to bet Maria Oliveira. Gloria DePaula is a minus 270 favorite.
I don't think that's crazy, to be honest. I think people aren't as stupid as what the record on paper suggests. I think they've had a look into it.
It's hard to put almost 3-1 money on Gloria DePaula against anybody, though.
This lady's not rated well, then.
Yeah, I'm not running to a window to bet a plus 210 Oliveira, but this does fit into my low-level women's MMA matchup thing that I've mentioned before, which is when it's two low-level women in the lower weight, or any of the weight classes, honestly. If they're over plus 200, bet the dog. So my advice would be dog or pass on the bet. I would not advise putting minus 300 on Gloria DePaula or betting her to finish, because she's not proven to be that lethal of a finisher either. So there's a weird first 5 fights of the night to start out, but we'll move on to the next fight, which honestly, not that much less weird here. Jasmine Rousey,
isn't she?
What's that?
Brazilian Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, Natalia Silva versus Jasmine Derveri-Vicius, or also known as Jasmine. Natalia Silva gets a lot of arm bars. She hasn't fought in like 2 years. She's 25 years old. You can watch a lot of her fights. Some of her fights looks like she's fighting on like a napkin of a mat. I mean, she hasn't fought in 2 years. I don't know how she's going to look coming out here, but Jasmine is really well-rounded. She started MMA a little later in her career at 33. Looked really good in her first fight in the UFC. Put together the striking with the wrestling really well. I think that Natalia Silva is going to be willing to go to the ground because of her arm bars. And so I do think Jasmine's going to have pretty good fortune in the wrestling department when she chooses to take it there on the feet. Huge skill range for Jasmine as well. I think Jasmine works Natalia Silva all day, but Natalia Silva hasn't been around for 2 years. She's going to be a much better fighter, might really have developed the stand-up in the last few years. I have no idea. So I'm not going to run to a ticket window and kick it over here, but it's hard to really make much of a breakdown other than we've seen Jasmine fight lately. She's looked very, very steady, both in the contender series and on the main stage. She's been more active. She's I just think got a better overall well-rounded game. Minus 240, I don't hate, and plus 195 on Silva. We have no idea how much better she's gotten. I wasn't able to find a lot on why she wasn't really fighting over the last couple of years. But again, I'm going to go with Jasmine here just because I feel like her game is going to translate to beat a lot of these kind of lower level fighters in this division, and I just can't really rate Natalia Silva based on what I've seen at 125 yet. So give me the known commodity in Jasmine Jazardavicius by I'll say a ground and pound finish, but I have no idea. I'm not going to bet the finish, but Jasmine Jazardavicius here.
Yeah, I mean, it falls into a similar camp here of a blown up record. It's a lot of experience, but against people that when you watch the fights, it just looks like they've never trained in their lives.
And how many armbar finishes are in the UFC at this point?
Yeah, I mean, she's armbarring people on their debuts while she's already got 10 fights. So I don't know where that ranks. I haven't heard of a few of the organizations she fought. I've obviously heard of Jungle. Jungle's not a bad one, Jungle Fight, but she didn't look bad. I saw the last 2 fights against Marcel and Mara, and I thought they were decent.
She's got plenty of tape. That's a positive.
Yeah, that's a really good positive. But that's a good positive for Jasmine. I think Jasmine knows. I think she beats her in pretty much like 5 out of 6 areas, and the one she doesn't beat her in is necessarily literally arm bars, not even just grappling. I think her Natalia Silva's grappling is like Ronda Rousey's. It's so one-dimensional. She's after one thing. She's not trying to work a ground game, slice through a guard, get into mountaintop position and beat you up. She's literally chasing the arm, which is why I called her the Brazilian Ronda Rousey. Ronda always flipped you on your head, grabbed the arm immediately, made it clear, I'm snatching this. I just think Jasmine, clinically on the feet, superb. She's superb. She's really good. Showed it against Kay Hansen. I know Kay got cut, but she was a prospect in her own right, and she took her loss to Elise Reed before the UFC, which was a very close fight. Elise Reed has shown she can stand and trade as well. So every time I've seen Jasmine, she improves. I haven't seen the other lady in a couple of years. So my logic goes for Jasmine.
Yeah, I agree. Minus 240 plus 195. I'll be honest, that price makes me a little nervous. I was expecting it to be a little wider. So it almost makes me wonder if they kind of know something about Silva, but can't really bet on that at this point. And Justin, I'm telling you right now, Duron Nguyen is nowhere in the neighborhood of Daniel Cormier. Just stop it. That was from the Sherdog days before Duron Nguyen got signed with the UFC, where people were saying that. Now we know he is not Daniel Cormier. So they just both are overweight wrestlers, and one of them actually wrestled. And one of them's just overweight. So that's the only similarity they have, is that they're overweight. And that's not the similarity you want.
If he picks him up like Cormier picked Josh Barnett up, I'll be happy. That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, I won't be. I'm not betting so hard, so I don't really care. But next fight here is at 170. I think this is a really interesting fight between two guys in their mid-30s. One of these guys a whole lot more tread on the tires, in my opinion, than Court McGee. But still, I mean, Jeremiah Wells only a couple years younger than Court McGee. Obviously, in MMA years, much younger, in my opinion. But we talk about this all the time, and there's a ramping up in competition that you want to kind of gradually increase your level of competition by the fight. When you're going from Blood Diamond to Court McGee, that is a tough incline, in my opinion. Court McGee, 2-fight win streak. I get it. Not over the best level of competition, but you beat who's in front of you. Nearly 1080 to Ramazids in that fight, Rahamaj. And just he's been finished one time in his entire career, or in his entire UFC career at least, by Ponzinibbio. And it was by KO. He's never been submitted. And then with Jeremiah Wells, I mean, Jeremiah Wells, he did what he was supposed to do in that last fight, besides the first 10 seconds where he freaked out and ran away from Blood Diamond, tripped over the cage, and just I don't know what that was about. But the things I really like about Wells that I think could really help him in this fight One is that, yes, he does get a lot of finishes, and he does have good power, but I don't think he's over-reliant on it. I think one thing that Wells is very good at that Court McGee's shown he's struggled with is getting in and out of the distance with his striking, using his leg kicks, using the body. Those are the spots where Court McGee struggles. If you're just going in there headhunting Court McGee, he's going to have his way with you, in my opinion. Like, he just is. Like, you're not going to be able to go in there and take his head off with one shot. I think that Jeremiah Wells has really, decent wrestling, but I would not go to that spot. I think that he is going to be looking to fight this fight at distance. I think he's going to be looking to spring in and out. I think he does have that type of game plan as well. And I just think that this is a really good spot. I was really surprised when the line flipped to Court McGee as a favorite. I jumped on Jeremiah Wells at the underdog price at plus 105. I just think these guys, I think Jeremiah Wells has 3-4 years left in the tank at least at this point, because he was a later starter. And I do think that he's not going in there trying to, I just think if you go in there trying to finish Court McGee is going to beat a lot of guys. I think he's going to go in there and try to get a decision with, Court McGee. So, yeah, I like Jeremiah Wells in the spot, getting in and out with the striking, avoiding the grappling overall, and just, not letting Court McGee make this a Court McGee fight. Touch him, keep on the move, and go. That's it. Jeremiah Wells by decision is my pick.
Yeah, I mean, copy Carlos Condit last time out. Older guy, completely lost a step. He's not got the volume he used to. Wells has to use his volume here. He can't rely on a one-shot knockout against a guy that is tough as nails. And Ponzinibbio knocked him out when Ponzinibbio was Ponzinibbio, and when he was back in, what was that, 5-6 years ago now?
Before the blood infection.
That's it, yeah. So, I mean, Court McGee, one of the few guys that has a win over Robert Whittaker, one of the greatest, So, I love Court McGee to bits.
Me too.
He's got the Dagestani beard. He's the old school Dagestani
I picked Court McGee in his last 2 fights.
I mean, to beat Claudio Silva in essentially a grappling fight is very, very difficult to do. So
that's what I'm saying. Jeremiah does not need to wrestle here.
No, you don't want to start doing that, because Court McGee has the pace to win the round via wrestling. He knows what's efficient and effective for a judge's score, and that's how
he knows how to win a decision.
Absolutely, it's what he does. That's what he does. I think Wells will win. I think Wells is got a bit more about him. He's a bit more active. He's a bit sharper. He's a bit quicker. He doesn't look and feel 35 like to me. When you see him fight, he looks like he's 27, 28. Court McGee looks 37. He looks like he's had to change his approach slightly to cope with how he fights nowadays and how slow he's got. His reactions have definitely got slow, which is why he's a bit more grinding. And I think as long as Wells doesn't get... Court's going to go for that clinch, push him against the cage and put his head on his chest and really grind on him. And if Wells has any knowledge in MMA, he's going to get the whizzer and he's going to kick off and move away very quickly. Because if
I've seen Wells is pretty hard to... Yeah, and from what I've seen, Wells is pretty hard to hold down too. He doesn't really get.
Court will have something to say about. He'll test that for sure, won't he? So
yeah, he will.
As long as he doesn't get sucked into the realm, as you say, of the Court McGee style fight, he's got this. But
use your speed. Use your speed.
A lot of people get sucked into it. He's like a maelstrom, isn't he? Just
do not believe you. I know it sounds really weird as my advice for the guy who I'm picking, but do not believe you can finish Court McGee here. Do not believe you can finish him. Don't think he's hurt. Don't believe it. Like, fight like Wonder Boy. Fight like Wonder Boy and you win this fight. Leg kicks.
Can Wells do that? Can Wells do that? I think
he can. He's my first official dog of the night at plus 105. I am shocked I really am shocked that Court McGee is the favorite. Minus 120.
I thought it'd be a pick 'em. I think
it's it's about a pick 'em. I'm just surprised. I think in a fight like this, I can get believing in Court McGee. He's shown one finish in his entire career in the UFC. So should be an interesting one. Plus 105 to minus 120 for Court McGee. First official dog of the night. Jeremiah Wells for me, and that is the set. Yep,
we're going to run over this next. We're going to run over this next fight quicker than the ladies' fights, right?
Well, the next fight.
This is easy. This is easy.
Adrianas versus Tony Kelly?
Yeah, this is easy.
Okay. Let's get to this fight here. At what is this?
Shocked if
The
anyone
featherweight.
doesn't have one.
What's that?
I'll be shocked if anyone is picking the.
If anybody's picking Tony Kelly here,
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a very, very entertaining fight because it's an Adrianas fight. And with Tony Kelly, there's a lot of things I like out of Tony Kelly. I think that he's figured out how to get down to bantamweight. I don't think there's any doubt at all in my mind that he is a bantamweight, not a featherweight. He has fought featherweight in his career. He's fought some pretty good level of competition. He's very, very tough. He looked outstanding in the last fight. He really did against Randy Costa. But there is a lot of wear and tear on that Tony Kelly body coming into this fight, saying he's still got a rotator cuff injury. That might be a little gamesmanship out of him. Here's the thing, though, for me with Adrianas. I think that this is Adrianas' first fight in his career in Texas. He's from Texas. He's going to come into this fight, I think, with a little extra gas. This is a guy who took everything Davy Grant had to offer in that fight. And that fight, to me, is a huge fight to go to a decision. Yes, I wanted Davy Grant to win. Giannis won that fight. Tony Kelly.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
He won that sword.
Yeah, he won that fight. It's okay, though. It was a very good fight. And I think more importantly,
close fight.
Yeah. It was very, very close. Tony Kelly looked really good in that last fight against Randy Costa. Randy Costa has 2 minutes of gas in his tank, if that, 30 seconds. Like this guy is the worst gas tank of anybody at the lower weight classes to me at this point, who looks like they're in good shape yet aren't. So that's what, Tony Kelly needs to make this a dirty fight. He needs to crowd Giannis a lot in this fight. I think that, he could have some success at points in this, but I just think that for me, Giannis is too crisp in that boxing realm. I'm not crazy about the lack of diversity on the strikes. He really is exclusively pretty much a boxer in MMA. I think he does have underrated grappling, though, as well. And speed-wise, it's just they're on two different ballparks here as well. For me, Tony Kelly's very tough. That is his number one positive trait. So in this spot, I'm left with a Giannis decision prop as probably one of my favorite prop plays of the night so far. Right now, I already bet this. I already bet Giannis by decision, plus 285. And I just think that is too good of a price to pass up here. I don't see a finish for either one. I see a lot of people who are picking KO on either side, and I'm a little surprised by that. I just think at times this is going to be a little more gritty and dirty of a fight. It's probably going to be Giannis's least exciting of his career so far, and I think it's still going to be a really good fight. So I think it's going to be a decision, and I got Adrianas.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad Glove Touch agrees with me, by the way, that Davy Grant won the last fight against Giannis, because he did. But Giannis...
I rate Davy Grant much better than Tony Kelly.
And there you go. Giannis showed to me the biggest thing is that he can take a shot.
Yes.
He really can take a shot. He does not lose his pace at all. From minute 1 to 15, Davy Grant was on him. Non-stop, constant pressure, constant throwing, never took a break. And Giannis was exactly the same. He had to be to win the fight. He was clipping he has knocked everyone out except Davy in his UFC tenure. He's going to knock out Tony Kelly to me. I think this is a second or third round. He normally takes the first round, other than against Victor Rodriguez, wasn't it? He normally takes the first round just to get a little bit of data, and then he starts turning it up in round 2. I just think he's too slick. He's just far too good of a striker, and he's not one-dimensional. He will kick the inside of your legs out, and Tony Kelly's going to lose his front leg, which will make his power hand significantly lighter, and Giannis won't even worry about it. I guarantee he won't worry about it.
Yeah, and I don't know where Justin is at. Justin's talking about he's not fighting like Wonder Boy. I was talking about Jeremiah Wells just darting in and out with the strikes. That's all. I didn't mean like Wonder Boy.
Not kicking like the strikes, darting in and out. The movement.
Yeah, and Jeremiah Wells has good leg kicks, but that's it. But yeah, with this fight, Yeah, part of it is the slow start for me and the toughness of Tony Kelly that's leading me to the decision play on my end, but a late finish one.
What about the grappling? Do you reckon Tony can do anything with grappling?
Yeah, Tony's going to have to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
the only way I can see him. He's going to really have to put, because no one's really tried to grapple Yanez yet.
And because Tony has really good jiu-jitsu. He's a former 145er. He's huge for the 135 division. He does have a lot of mileage on him, but not from fights, just from injuries. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is the route. Trading with Yanez is not going to lead it to a good night for Tony Kelly, in my opinion. So, yeah, we agree here on Yanez. I don't love the price at minus 320. I think it's a little closer than that myself.
I think there's a lot of hype behind Adrian Yanez, isn't there? That's probably it. And Tony Kelly's probably flown under the radar a little bit. A lot of people might not know who he is, particularly. He's not exciting.
And then Glove Touch is asking about Yanez versus O'Malley.
No, I don't think Yanez could be O'Malley.
I just think that the frames of those two guys is pretty tough.
I think O'Malley he'll do very good.
I think Yanez would be on the end of a lot of punches from O'Malley.
Yeah, I think Yanez could do good, but I think he would lose.
Yeah,
I think Yanez is probably going to get to the Almeida stage, the Neely man. That I don't unless he shows same as O'Malley. I don't think O'Malley will ever be a champion, ever. But I think he's always going to be a top. I think he will be a top 5 guy permanently.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Yanez is top 5.
Not from what I've seen yet. I think he's the 10 gatekeeper range at the moment.
Yeah,
at maximum.
I agree. Next fight here, one of my favorite fighters who got robbed in his last fight against Armen Petrosyan. Absolutely robbed in that fight. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree.
Gregory Rodriguez won that fight. That was an absolute disgrace. There, lost by split decision to Armen Petrosyan. Now getting Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez here. To me, this is my favorite spot on the entire card from a betting perspective. I think the odds are way off here right now. Gregory Rodriguez is going to smash Julian Marquez. Smash him. He's going to render him completely unconscious. Julian Marquez was so fortunate against Sam Alvey in that fight that he was losing. He was losing to Sam Alvey, currently still in the UFC, Sam Alvey. But literally, what guy this decade has lost to Sam Alvey? And Julian Marquez literally made that a case. Julian Marquez has just so many periods of inactivity in bouts for me. He's just got so many bad moments. He's gotten so lucky in so many of his wins. I hate using the L word, but really, he should have lost what, 1, 2, 3 times now, where he somehow found a way at the end to win the fight. I just don't rate Julian Marquez at all. I rate Gregory Rodriguez very highly. Gregory Rodriguez has moments of banana peel slippage, like the Jordan Williams loss on the Contenders series. I get it. But Rodriguez is really, really good everywhere. His jiu-jitsu is absolutely world-class as well. His stand-up has just gotten better and better. He has some of the best power in the division. He's in great shape. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than Julian Marquez. Rodriguez should be in parlays. You can bet him separately. The line is perfect. This is Rodriguez all day long here. You're going to have to tell me what Julian Marquez has to offer Rodriguez, because Rodriguez is better everywhere.
And he's fought some very good people, even before the UFC, like beating Josh Fremd before he came into the UFC as well. Todorovic is a beast. Jung Young Park, he knocked him out. You've seen how tough Park is to actually finish. Does a lot of grappling competitions, and he outstruck Armen.
And got in a Sullivan stretch and shit.
Mate, he is he got robbed against Armen.
I don't know how he lost that fight.
Julian Marquez just doesn't fight enough for me. You think he beat Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey's on I think 7-loss streak, and he's not 1 in 8.
Sam Alvey.
Yeah,
barely.
Maki Patolo,
where
average.
He took a shitload of damage.
Shitload. And also, Maki Patolo is seriously undersized for the weight class. And before that, it was Darren Stewart, but that was he beat Darren Stewart, but that was in 2017.
Yeah.
And that was only a couple fights ago. So he just he's just so inactive. I don't
He's had
see him
really bad injuries.
I hate to agree with you of like to the extent of you saying he's going to destroy him pretty much, but I completely what I've got here is I've got my lovely star and circle next to the names I adore, and Gregory Rodriguez he's the lock for me for the whole card.
This is my thing. He is a minus 170 right now, people. You can get Gregory Rodriguez here, not finishing inside the distance, straight up at minus 170.
Yeah.
Bet that.
And then he should call out Miley Cyrus afterwards.
Yeah, maybe he would actually seal the deal with Miley, unlike Marquez. But Gregory Rodriguez, he's doing it, man. So Chico is, on the dog here, but I can't agree with Chico here. I think Gregory Rodriguez finishes inside the distance. I could definitely see the submission, but I think more likely he KOs Julian Marquez here. But for me, Gregory Rodriguez can win a submission. He can win by KO.
I reckon he'll sub him.
And he can win by decision also. For Julian Marquez, I feel he can win by a submission if Gregory Rodriguez gets exhausted and he somehow is able to grab like some sort of gross head. Otherwise, I don't think Julian Marquez can win a decision, and I don't see him being able to knock him out. So you have one guy who can win 3 ways and one guy who can maybe win in 1 way for me. I will stand behind this, and you can get at me in the comments if Rodriguez loses, but I really like him. He is my favorite play on the card.
You're gonna have to do another hair.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, well, it's slowly growing back.
It's gonna be the beard this time. You've got like Shaver Hitler.
Yeah, no, not gonna do that. But I'll go with the mustache next week if Gregory Rodriguez loses. Why not? But we will move on to the next.
Can you do the pencil?
Yeah, I'll do my best. I don't want to make any, promises after last time when I buzzed my hair when I didn't shave it or whatever the fuck. Like this, but I'll do something weird with my beard if Gregory Rodriguez loses because he's not going to. So we're going to move on here. That is the beginning of the main card. I love that the spot here for Rodriguez in case you have not heard me clearly. So move on to the next fight here. But yeah, it should be a good fight. I really don't rate Marquez very highly here, and I just think Rodriguez should take this one. Next fight, my fight of the night, perhaps. I think one of the best fights on the card, if not the best fight on the card. It's a really, really good fight here between 2 up-and-coming European prospects here. Damir Ismagulov taking on my boy Guram Kutaladze. Got to bet Guram against Gamrot his last time out when he was a plus 235 underdog. That was a sweat, but it was a great fight. It's not often you see split decisions win fight of the night on a debuting fighter, but you did there. That's how good of a fight it was. Guram showed a lot in that fight for sure. Since then, 2 years off, rib injury, knee injury. He's been training everywhere from All-Star to Elite XC or to Extreme Couture. I always do that. To just kind of all over the place. He's a main training partner of Hazmat Chimaev. Very, very good striker. Really, really impressive grappling. Showed a lot of it against Gamrot and dropped Gamrot hard, hurt him at several other parts in the fight. Those are huge, huge things. Damir Ismagulov, it's just kind of been steady as he goes. As he kind of went in that fight, in his fights in the UFC, started out against Alex Gorgie, where he really showed that wrestling. He's kind of gone away from the wrestling in the UFC since then. He's been more kind of wanting to show his overall well-rounded stand-up game for the most part. So for me, with Damir, I think it's all about the wrestling, how the wrestling is able to be effective against Guram. Because Guram's shown his takedown defense is pretty good. His get-up game is very good. So for me, showed a lot of those things against Gamrot in his last time. That was 2 years ago. I do think for me at points, Damir has been looking to go to 145. Guram is never thinking about going to 145. The only thing he could think is 155 or 170. I do think there's going to be a significant size advantage in this fight for Guram. And if he can use that size to kind of negate the takedowns of Damir, I think on the feet, Guram has a huge edge on the feet, which is saying something against a guy like Damir. Damir lost the third round to Alves' last fight out, which is very confusing. It's like you would think the opposite would have happened. Like Alves would have won the first round, and then Damir took over. Damir had a lot of injuries after his last fight. Ended up leaving his fight camp for a while. Read an whole interview where he was talking about this. Left his fight camp for a while. Got back with the same fight camp, but was away from his fight camp. Was dealing with some personal issues and some pretty bad injuries. So, I mean, again, this is a spot where both guys have faced really great levels of competition. They beat great levels of competition. They're highly touted European prospects. They're both coming off several injuries. And you've got Guram at a plus 140. I'm taking the dog here. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think it's got a potential to really, whoever wins this fight, I think has a huge future in this division. For me, I just think Guram's a little bit bigger and much better on the feet where I think this fight's going to take place. So for me, I'm taking Guram by decision. Another dog for me. It looks like Justin and I finally agree on a fight. Visceral is saying his dog of the night, which I might agree with as well. But Guram, I love him. I've loved what I've seen. I like, he's really come from humble beginnings, and both these guys have. These guys are both going to give it their all. I think this is a tremendous fight. I'm not going to say you're wrong on either side for this one. There's not a wrong pick here until after the fight. But I'm going with Guram by decision.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can add, to be honest, other than the only thing you'd have to watch out is Damir's diverse skill set when it comes to the striking. I don't think he's as clinical. I don't think he measures himself as well. But what he does do is he has unpredictable explosivity, doesn't he? He does a lot of spinning attacks with his elbows. He likes the turning side kick, like a lot, maybe too much. And that might expose him in some areas where Guram can actually kind of telegraph it to an extent. I rate the win over Gamrot I think Gamrot is a future champion. Mm-hmm. And to drop him with that left hook.
And then hurt him too.
Oh, man, did it hurt him. Like, I had him winning. I know it was a split decision, but I did have him winning.
Me too.
I did not think he was going to win. I thought Gamrot was going to blitz. And you've seen Gamrot's fought 3 times since. And he beat Holtzman, Ferreira, and Jeremy Stevens, didn't he? And he finished all 3.
Finished all 3.
Like, Guram is the real deal. It was over. He is the real deal. And I have a feeling that you're going to get record trapped here. Because you'll see 23-1, you're gonna a lot of people on first look that you got to ignore the records of that. Just look at the last 5 fights.
Also, Damir's been around for when Damir made his debut years ago. Now we've known Damir for a while.
Damir, yeah, he must have done, mustn't he?
Mm-hmm, that was a while ago.
What was his first fight? Joel Alvarez, something like that.
It was Alex Gorges.
Oh yes, it was. Oh that would have been. Oh yeah, that was it because he was meant to fight Joe Duffy.
Yeah, and it was just takedown city in that first fight. It was like the Kazakhstani wrestler that first fight. It was disappeared since then. Who needs to come back in this fight? And if he's effective against Guram, that's a statement because of how, Gamrot struggled there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Damir has to wrestle, but I think he has to mix it so well. He has to be unpredictable. Keep Guram guessing. Do not get into just a pure striking bout because I think Guram wins that. 30-27 if it's just like kickboxing essentially. Mm-hmm. And that may sound crazy. It might be in over my head a little bit. I am riding the Guram train here, so I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yep.
You beat Gamrot. I'm betting on you.
Yeah, beat Gamrot, and I get it. He was off with the knee injury and the rib injury, but he has been healthy for a decent amount of time now, according to him and his camp. So to beat Gamrot and come back as an underdog in your next fight really is a compliment to Damir. Plus 145, I got Guram at minus 170 for Damir. I think this fight is super close. I think it's a pick'em. And against Gamrot, I felt it was closer to a pick'em as well. A lot of people are really happy on Gamrot here. I get it. I felt it was closer to pick'em, which is why I bet Guram at plus 240 that last time. Here, I feel it should be a pick'em plus 140. I'm getting an underdog price of Guram in his first 2 fights in the UFC. he's taking on a high level of competition, but I think he's a real deal, man. So I'm really excited to see if he's able to come back from that adversity. Should be a good one. And Demir also coming off an injury more recently as well. So both these guys are coming into this fight having to answer that kind of the health question. They're both, I believe, about 27, 28 years old, according to their birth certificates. I mean, Demir looks like he's 50, but he fights like he's 20. So, I mean, it's
some of these Georgians, man, in the UFC at the moment.
Georgia versus Kazakhstan, you talk about hard people. You have these both are very, very hard and very motivated as well. I mean, each one of these wins changes, a lot for these two fighters. So I'm really, really excited about that fight. Should be a very good one.
You'll have to explain Albert Durayev's picture in the next one.
Oh, it's been there forever.
It? Yeah.
With like looking like he's an Uber driver, Uber black driver.
It looks like a chauffeur. Yeah, I
used to call him the Uber driver. It should be but this should be an interesting fight here. It's pretty classic grappler versus striker, though, in my opinion. You got Joaquin Buckley. He did that kick against Impa. I don't know if you've heard about it. But then he got knocked out by Di Chirico and decided to be like, get rid of all that. So long. And now he's like kind of in this weird, like trying to be a gunslinger that doesn't unload all his guns type of thing. Coming off that win against Al Hassan where everybody's like, here we go, fight of the night. And it turned into what that was. I mean, we can go through the records. Duraev has beaten pretty garbage competition so far in his return from his little break. That Bittencourt guy he beat on the Contender Series, they already had Duraev scheduled for his UFC debut before he faced that guy. Like, they're like, he's facing another guy in a month. That's how good Bittencourt was. So whatever, throw that one out. And then he faces Roman Kopilov, who was another one of these princes who was promised by us. This guy coming into the UFC, 8-0, young, he's exciting, finishes, but who was he beating? Nobody. It's okay. Kopilov, with one of the few strikes he landed, blew up Duraev's head. Duraev is 14-3. His 3 losses coming by KO. For Buckley, he's got to KO him inside of the first couple minutes, or he's getting smothered for 15 minutes until he gets submitted. One or the other. Duraev is big. He grapples. He knows what he needs to do going in there, but Duraev's head is very, very punchable, and he shows damage very quickly. Buckley has the ability to finish this fight for sure. He really does. The fight starts on the feet, and Duraev looks very willing on the feet to be trading. Duraev needs to go in there and shoot for the takedown within 20 seconds. Like, he needs to not find out if he can even take any shots from Buckley. Buckley's going to have the reach advantage in this fight, even though he's shorter. But once Duraev gets to the ground, it's all academic. Really, I just think unless Duraev can absolutely not take a shot, he's going to win this fight. So I'll take Duraev, and I'll take him to get a submission. I think at some point he just gets into that arm triangle. Duraev essentially is Amari Akhmedov 2.0. Like, that's just basically what we got. They got rid of Amari, put him in PFL where he's going buck wild, knocking out Victor Pesta and shit. And now we have Duraev. So I'm not sure about if it goes under 1.5 or not, because Duraev may kind of just take his time once he gets the takedowns and not really rush and be more focused on the position, because he knows he can't trade with Joaquin Buckley. He can't trade with many fighters, honestly. I still don't really trust his ability to take a shot. How much damage he showed against Roman Kopilov and really a few amount of strikes is still concerning, and Duraev 3 losses, 3 KOs. His 4th loss, I'm willing to bet, will be by KO. And Buckley is very good at KOing people when he lets it go. But I just think Duraev probably just takes him down. But he's very hittable. He's very hittable. And he doesn't take shots well. I'm not on the Duraev train at all. I just don't have the balls to pick or bet Buckley. I wish I did.
Yeah, I am going Buckley.
No, I respect it.
As long as it's like this new school Buckley, the one that fought Abdul Razak, will lose. He will lose.
Right.
Because
he needs to go back to the old Buckley for sure.
Yeah, if he goes back to the old Buckley for this fight.
Like Kevin Holland Buckley.
He wins. Yep. Impa Kasanganai, Jordan Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Even how he was fighting against DiCirio, I don't know how to say it. Alessio. Any of those fights, he wins. I really believe he wins. Albert just gets smashed standing. His head is a bowling ball.
He stands so square.
He does. He has no striking.
No.
Let's be real. He can throw punches, but he doesn't know how to throw a punch. I'm gonna say Buckley. I want Buckley to win, so I'm picking Buckley. I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I just don't.
I don't like complete one-dimensional fighters where you're not even entertaining evolving into MMA. Like Duraev is at his ceiling right now for me. Anyone that can defend a takedown and just do a 1-2 will starch him. And I think Buckley. I think his defensive wrestling is better than we're probably giving him credit for as well. Just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean he doesn't have it, you know.
Yeah, I agree. So it's harder to miss that guy with his big old blockhead. His blockhead that shows all the damage too, Tracy. I always forget if it's Trace or Tracy. I'm jealous of all the Buckley people because I feel like gutless picking Duraev here. I'm really confused with the people who think Duraev is just like the next just like smashing machine.
No.
Because he's not. I think Buckley is about the ceiling he can beat if he beats Buckley.
He's a great grappler, don't get me wrong, but there's so many holes in his game. He's just going to be exposed. He will remind you similar to. Do you remember when Damian Maia was undefeated?
Yep.
And then he fought Nate Marquardt, and they hit him with one straight right in about 4 seconds of the fight, and just shut his lights off. That's all it'll take. He'll walk forward. He'll bend over to grab that leg, and Buckley's going to knee him up the head.
Yep. And Duraev
that's all she wrote.
And Duraev is minus 220 because this whole card is full of crazy lines where they're asking you to, guys, find your dog. There's going to be 1, 2, or 3 dogs at least, I believe, on this card, and you're getting big dog prices throughout it, even though many of these fights are much closer. This is another fight that is closer than the odds are indicating. What you got was just you have a very exciting kind of hype train from Duraev from his last 2 wins, which are not against high levels of opponents, in my opinion.
It is just because of where he's from and the style he has.
It's not because of anyone he's beaten.
It's not because of anyone he's beaten.
And the beard he has.
And the beard he has, exactly. I mean, he's got the moustache, so that's he's going to lose.
Yeah. So minus 220 for Duraev, plus 180 on Buckley. I'd be happy to be on the Buckley side. But, I am going to go with Duraev after all that. Nope. I'm going with Duraev here, but not going to be that one I'm betting. This is definitely a card where I'm being more selective about the favorites I get behind just because these odds are pretty crazy. We're at the third from the top now, another very good fight at 170. And I think a fight that is much more interesting than many people are giving it credit for. Tim Means. I really like this fight. Tim Means. Against a guy who I've admitted I'm not the biggest fan of, but I still, making my breakdown with Kevin Holland. 170 return for Kevin Holland. He has fought 170 before. He made 170 straight up in his 170 return. So somehow, some way, that weight cut is not hard for Kevin Holland. I don't know how, with how long and massive he is, but. He's
quite slim. He's like, I think he walked around at like 191, 192.
Yeah. So that's good. It's nice not to have that problem. Still only 29 years old now, going up against a 38-year-old Dirty Bird at this point. So that's definitely, I think, a factor in this fight. For Kevin Holland, one thing I like is that he doesn't start fast. And that might sound kind of weird, but I like it in this fight because you're not getting Tim Means out of there in round 1, in my opinion. I just think he's too tough, and he's going to make it through round 1. So you've got to have that game that's kind of comfortable going along as things go. And for me, I do think that Kevin Holland has a good game plan with regards to that, taking his time of doing enough to win the rounds while not overexposing himself early and then kind of tiring out and wearing out his opponents. But Kevin Holland, he's a character, all right. And I just think that Kevin Holland has the advantage on the outside, and the inside is where Tim Means has the advantage. On the ground, Tim Means has the advantage. So for me, it's I think really interesting here. I think Means needs to push him against the cage, eliminate that reach, eliminate the speed of Kevin Holland here, wear him down. And, I get Tim Means is not a Derek Brunson, but take that type of approach of, again, just beating him up, getting him against the cage, getting him to be willing to grapple. Once you get Kevin Holland taken down twice, you've got him taken down for the rest of the fight. He starts to accept the takedowns. He starts to accept the positions. It starts to get in his head, here it goes again. And then he starts to want to put on a show and be like, oh, look, everybody, I'm laughing while I'm on the bottom. I just don't love the mental approach of Kevin Holland. He's got the physical tools. He's got the athleticism. He's got some belief. He definitely has a lot of belief in himself. But with Tim Means, Tim Means is not going to stop trying that entire fight. He doesn't care if you're talking to him. He doesn't care if you're chatting. He doesn't of any of that. He's got an underrated ground game on the feet. Once you get past that range, I think he's got the better inside striking game as well. Tim Means does. My worry with Tim Means is the age. It's the durability. Yes, I think he can get through some of the early adversity, but as the fight goes, I think that he might start to just kind of get worn down by Kevin Holland. Honestly, if he can't get the fight close in the range, in the grappling, and work some jiu-jitsu. I got Kevin Holland here. He's from Texas, in front of the crowd. He's going to have a ton of energy, a ton of support behind him. He's from Texas. For me, Tim Means is just going to have a lot of trouble, I think, closing that range and distance. And if he's able to close it, if he's able to establish a little bit of that cage control and get it to the ground, then Tim Means, I think, can win and submit Kevin Holland or, take this one by decision, honestly. But I think Kevin Holland probably takes this by decision, just kind of outside movement and everything like that. But, yeah, I think it's interesting. You never know. And I'm the last person who's going to bet Kevin Holland. I'm not betting him. I'm not trusting him at this price of nearly minus 250 against Tim Means, Tim Means, I don't think he's dust yet, but we're getting close. 38, a lot of damage. So I'm going to go with Kevin Holland, but minus 270, minus 280, at plus 230, Tim Means is appealing.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of durability still about him. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He beat Dalby and Perry and was it Storopoli, wasn't it?
Yep.
I really like Tim Means. Lead elbows out of the clinch, elbows into the clinch. He's a real dirty fighter, and not as in illegal. I mean, as in gritty. He will really make it rough and horrid and wrench. When he gets the underhook, he'll be wrenching that arm to really stick it out the socket instead of just holding the position for technique-wise. He's a fighter more than an athlete. Kevin Holland, he's going to rise to the occasion. He always does. He loves the spotlight being on him, which I think will excel in Texas because, as you say, he's from there. So if Means can get inside that reach, I actually like him for a neck attack. I think if he can, remember how he finished Thiago Alves jumping on that guillotine?
Yeah.
I think those are the sort of things that Kevin Holland's not going to be expecting. Tim has really good jiu-jitsu. I know he got finished by Daniel Rodriguez, not in recent memory by a guillotine as well, but Kevin's not really going to go for that sort of thing. This fight kind of suits Kevin. We finally get to see him in a striking matchup once again, and the last time that happened, he knocks the guy out. So I think the ranges and the speed is going to be the key here for Holland.
Where's Daniel Rodriguez at?
Is he injured at the moment? I have a
I
feeling
don't know, but man, that guy is a dark horse. Yeah. What a dark horse at 170. That dude is kind of the guy no one's talking about. But
yeah. With the cage tattoo, you gotta get
it. He's so scary too. He's one of the last guys I would ever want to fight on the street from the UFC. He just looks like he would beat the hell out of me.
Looks like he just got Alcatraz to me.
I'm pretty sure he did serve some time. Pretty sure he did. But we're not here to talk about Daniel Rodriguez's crime record because now it's on to a fight we've already broken down once. a fight that honestly, just like I think anybody trying to have like a really rational, like, here's how I see this fight going. Like, good luck. Joe Lauzon versus Donald Cerrone. For me, Joe Lauzon, he was my pick last time. We went into it last time. I just, I think that I've seen more signs of life out of Joe Lauzon over the last 4 years than I've seen out of Donald Cerrone. I just don't think we're going to see the best version of Cerrone coming into this fight. Every time I see Donald Cerrone, he looks very inebriated. He looks like he's focused on other things other than fighting, and like he likes to just still be the cowboy. Joe Lauzon has opened a gym. He's training a lot of up-and-coming fighters. He does commentating for fighting. I feel Joe Lauzon still like eats and breathes fighting, like way more.
He does. Yeah.
And like I just think he's not as washed here.
Cowboy
and
he just did a movie, didn't he?
And he's the underdog here. And I think Lauzon has the better MMA jiu-jitsu overall. I just think that he is. I do. I think that he has.
He's interesting. Yeah. Not disagreeing.
I think it'd be really interesting to see how it looks there. I think on the feet, I would give Donald a slight edge from offense, but defensively, I'm not sure, honestly. And Lauzon, I was at that JSP fight in Boston, man. That was incredible. Like, he really, really looked good. And I get it. JSP is, not incredible, but he's looked pretty good since that fight.
3 years ago, though.
It was 3 years ago. Yeah. And
he's 38 now.
He is 38 now, but he hasn't been taking this damage over. And you see him in training, you see him on broadcast. He still looks like Joe Lauzon. Donald Cerrone doesn't exactly look like Donald Cerrone anymore. Like, he just looks a little disheveled. I'm not going crazy on this fight. I am going to bet it because it will be fun. I'm taking a shot at the dog and Joe Lauzon here. I'm not sure how he gets it done, but I just think he gets it done. Plus 140.
I'll tell you he gets it done. If he gets it done, here's a stat for you that people like. He's got 28 wins on his record. 18 are in the first round.
Yep.
He's the fast starter. Donald Cerrone, out of however many losses he's got.
Super slow starter. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got 16 losses. I think 9 or 8 were in the first round.
Yeah, 100%.
That was the stat. So
100%.
If Joe's going to win, he's going to come out the gates and he's going to blitz him. Same how he did with Jonathan Pierce. He's going to rock him, and then he can start working the jiu-jitsu.
I would love to see that.
But if it goes past round 2, that's where the tempo ramps up. And that's where, like, Clay Guida uppercutted like Joe Lauzon to hell. When Clay Guida can start you, Chris Grutzmacher beat him. He got a split against Marcin Held, and I had Marcin winning that fight.
Okay.
It's
Marcin Held's not bad.
But he's not bad. Who did Donald lose to? He lost to Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, Pettis,
Jorge Masvidal,
and then long time ago. I mean, like recent. There was
okay.
And then he got a draw against Nico Price, which I thought he won. That was a competitive. Nico Price or Jonathan Pierce. The level is very, very
different. But that damage from that Nico Price fight, you pay a price for. Like, he took so much damage.
I don't know.
It's just like an accumulation at this point.
He's had the longest layoff of his career now, hasn't he?
Is that good or bad for Donald Cerrone?
I think it's good. I think it's good.
Okay, I think it's bad. I think Donald Cerrone gets into trouble when he's not training or fighting.
I think what's bad is that he's cutting to 155 again.
Exactly.
I think it should be at 170. I think that favors Joe Lauzon massively, but I just don't think Joe Lauzon has it anymore. I think, when he was fighting, when he made his debut against Jens Pulver and he knocked him out,
then got sent to Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, like exactly, yeah. But like he in the days where he was beating like Jamie Varner and Melvin Gillard, that was his heyday for me. Mac Danzig, he beat Chiesa.
Sure. Yes.
When Chiesa was new, but I don't see. I think Cerrone's going to win by decision. I think it'll be a 2-3 for Cerrone. If Lauzon does win, it'll be round 1. I want no one to win and lose.
I really want. I'm rooting for Joe here.
Yeah, if anyone does have to win, I want Joe to win, because it will say, Donald, you should have retired years ago to him, because he should have.
Yes.
But as you said, I think you said it last time we talked about this fight. The BMF Ranch is not that good.
No, it's not a good place. Not a good fight camp. Maybe it's a fun place to vacation.
Yeah, the people he's getting into train with him are not the elite.
Like, who is it? Like Cameron Van Camp is his like main training partner.
Yeah,
who made Andre Fiallo look like a god, and Andre Fiallo made Jake Matthews look like a god. God, not mad about that at all, but yeah, I think this. I fear this might be a disappointing fight. I'll say that much. Yeah, I'm not sure either one of these guys have the ability to put on that marquee vintage performance type of thing.
This next fight's going to upset a lot of people, though.
This is a great fight. Great main event. This is definitely one of the one of the times I will say that I really do love the main card more than the prelims. I don't say that like a crazy amount of the time, but this is a really good main card top to bottom, honestly. And the main event, Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett here. A fight that I kind of compared this to, and we'll talk about Harry in a minute. Hang on, Regis. We'll talk about Harry Hunsucker's 205 debut in a minute. Hang on. I was going to get to that. Don't worry. We're all ready. He's definitely toying with them. He's second round finish, Harry Hunsucker. 205 debut. Here we go. Against Tyson Pedro. He's going to gas out Tyson Pedro and knock him out in round 2. There's your free pick for that one. But Kattar versus Emmett here. Trey's going with Kattar via steamroll. This fight, in some ways, reminds me of the Font and the Font and Cheeto fight. In some ways, where you've got the round winner against the round stealer or round ender in Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett's had a lot of fights where he's losing until he's winning. Ricardo Ramos, the number one though, Michael Johnson. That's a fight that I went back and watched. I think it's a fight everybody should go back and watch because I do think it'll play a huge role in how Calvin Kattar approaches this fight. Josh Emmett does not react well to feints at all. He reacts very, very, largely to fakes and feints. And Calvin Kattar, I think, is one of the best feinters in definitely in this division. He feints in all his fights. He switches stances. He really fires well from southpaw, which Emmett also shows that he's had trouble with in a couple of his fights. For me, I just think Calvin Kattar, he looks so good coming back off of that beating from Max Holloway. He took the time off he needed to against Giga, went the full distance, looked absolutely great. And Emmett is losing every fight till he clips someone.
Can I say I got slaughtered for my prediction of betting Kattar against Giga?
Oh, we both agreed on.
We were always on Kattar. Is the comments I got, and I was like, "Fuck off, you were." 90% of my comments were on Giga's train. I said,
Giga was a huge favorite in that fight for a reason. It wasn't because people weren't betting on him. But you can go back and watch the breakdown right after this. We both picked Kattar there. Kattar, he did what he needed to do, which was take the time off, and he is just a supremely intelligent fighter. He's so fast. He's so quick. He's smooth with his transitions. He's got underrated grappling and wrestling to keep the fight where he needs to. And Josh Emmett isn't going to go in there and try to wrestle. He never has gone in and tried to wrestle. He's not going to here. It's basically – I love Josh Emmett. I love his story. I love the amount of adversity he's had to come back from. He got his face broken against Jeremy Stevens on an illegal knee. That sucks. He blew out his knee against Shane Burgos in the first 19 seconds and won a decision against Shane Burgos. Are you kidding me? That's crazy, man. That is where it's you can't just say that Emmett just goes in there and just takes shots until he swings and maybe catches you. He does a little more than that, for sure. This is just a brutal matchup for him. I just think this is the type of matchup that Kattar's gonna really roll in. I think, I just do. I don't think that one of the big differences I mentioned, the Font and Cheeto fight, for example. Font was rushing back to that fight after taking a ton of damage in his previous fight. I kept pointing that out. I said it's going to affect his ability to take a shot.
Wasn't it? Yeah,
it's going to affect his ability to take a shot. He's going to show damage more quickly. Kattar's not rushing into this fight here at all. And he's willing to take on a guy like Emmett in a spot where he doesn't really have to be taking this fight. I really think that, Kattar dictates where this fight's taking place on the feet for the most part. He's not getting KO. Emmett's not going to KO him in this spot, in my opinion. I think as this fight goes on, it becomes more and more Kattar's fight. I think Kattar cruises to a decision. And I hate to say cruise against a guy like Josh Emmett, who I respect very highly. That's how I really see it, though. After looking at the tape, after watching back the wins, after watching back the losses of both guys, I like Kattar. I think he's going to use a lot of feints in this fight. I think there's going to be I think there might be some leg kicks, which isn't something you see a ton out of Kattar, but I would like to see increased a little bit in this to just keep it from being pure boxing to where you're kind of getting into that danger zone to where like one shot from Emmett can end it. You implement a little more of a kickboxing approach than just a straight boxing. But yeah, I like Kattar in the spot. I like him to get a decision. But
that's a good point, by the way, the decision part. That's one point I wanted to just bring up is Emmett is more than just a power puncher. He has got absolutely devastating technique, but he is heavily boxing reliant.
Yes.
He will open up with leg kicks, but come the second round, he's lost them. Like Chandler Gaethje, he opened up with leg kicks and then he stopped doing them by rounds 2 and 3 because he's not landing as many, so he wants to land those bombs. He landed so many and dropped Shane Burgos so many times with a busted knee. So he has definitely potential to really rattle Kattar. But what Kattar showed against Giga, which is, I'm going to take you down. And he showed he has evolved. If Josh rocks him and gets him in a tight spot, you better believe Kattar's going to try and take him down because his wrestling is underrated. I know he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so he's not unknown at all. He's a decent level grappler for MMA at this high level. Emmett is always said, like, he's always assumed he's got the wrestling, but again, one of those that never use it. This is 25 minutes. This is Kattar's world. This is what he does. He dances around, smashes the inside of your leg out, stops that heavy shot from landing. And when you throw and swing and miss, he counters you with 2, 3, 4 combos and rinses you. I would not be surprised if Kattar could get a finish here on Emmett, similar to how he fought Jeremy Stevens.
Super impressive.
Josh Emmett is a better Jeremy Stevens, a much better Jeremy Stevens, but he's the same style. And Kattar dismantles that style. And that, to me, is I think Kattar has this win. I know Josh Emmett is very good. I wanted to see Josh Emmett v. Arnold Allen. I wanted to see how Arnold would solve that puzzle.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
I think because I think Kattar is a lot higher in skill level than Arnold Allen. But I think Calvin can. I think over 25 minutes. I'm not surprised if Josh wins a round. As you say, Calvin could be winning 4 minutes of the round, and then Josh gets him with a nice combination. Drops him. But I think Kattar's got more than enough knowledge and experience now to hang on there and not do anything brash, not do anything crazy, and just work his game. And I see a 25-minute clinic from Kattar. Yeah,
no, I agree with you there. It's like I saw the odds when it opened up. I saw plus 190, plus 195 on Emmett. I'm like, here we go. Emmett plus 200 in the main event. After really going through and separating the heart and the mind, it does feel that this is Kattar's fight by decision. I think it's a great fight, though. Minus 250 on Calvin Kattar, plus 195 on Emmett. I will say that I think it's a really good main event. I'm curious to see. I think that a lot of how the result of this, if it's a title shot or not, they're kind of talking about. I think there's going to have to be a finish in this fight for there to be a title shot. I don't see even the best of a decision resulting in a title shot for either one of these guys. So we'll see how that affects things.
It's going to be most likely Ortega Yair Victor, isn't it? For the next title shot, probably.
Maybe, but I mean, it depends.
There's literally an open race at the moment.
Yeah, that's why an impressive finish here could really vault one of these guys into that spot. Real quick,
the loser to fight Arnold Allen, please.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I mean, who knows though? But real quick, I'll go through 5-fight parlay that I have already locked in here, and it is at plus 1,300 currently. Kyle Dawkins, Ricardo Ramos, Jeremiah Wells, Gregory Rodriguez, and Guram Kutaladze plus 1,300. I get it. Putting Guram in a parlay to end it. Crazy. This is not by all means the 5 short, but you're getting 4 plus 1,300 currently on those 5. I really like those. If you're feeling a little less risky and you want to take out Kutaladze, I would suggest you could take him out and add Adrianas. So be definitely a little bit less. You're in the plus 600 range with that. But those are my 2 5-piece parlays. And I do like Giannis by decision, that plus 285 prop. I get Lewis, though, likes the finish. So should be an interesting card. I really do like it. Visceral makes a good point of how Ortega already had 2 shots at the title. So
give him a third.
Yeah, well, give it to him later. But yeah, this should be a really good card. The PFL breakdown on the channel already. Went solo with that yesterday. Have a couple dogs on there as well. It should be very good. That's on Friday, the 17th, and then the 18th is the UFC from Austin here. Before we take off, Lewis, anything going on over at your channel that you want to point out?
Just a few breakdowns at the moment. We do have, I think I might do a couple breakdowns on the next Cage Warriors or 2 because we've got Belfast next week. Or is it Dublin? It's in Ireland. You got McKee versus Burlinson as the headliner. So might be doing a few little bits there as well. Might include Brad Wheeler on that one. That's the Cage Warriors veteran, or the Cage Warriors record holder he is of the most fights and wins.
Yeah, we got a good week next week with the Cage Warriors. PFL number 5 is back. PFL is back next week again. Cage Warriors is back next week. UFC next week. UFC for the next 8 weeks. So MMA is back for the whole summer. So appreciate the support and I love everybody. We're over 500 subscribers again. I can safely say that. So just, keep on keeping on. Appreciate everybody joining. Glove Touch, Visceral, Justin, Bunny.
Happy birthday, Glove Touch.
And happy birthday to me.
And you, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think I'm double Glove Touch's age almost, but that's okay. Yeah, that's going to do it for the breakdown here. Wesley Snipes making it in there. Let's get that to 1,000. I agree. Let's get to 1,000. We're going to get there. But appreciate it with double-digit viewers. Always a good thing to see on the breakdowns here. But that's going to do it for the UFC breakdown. Melissa making it in at the end here. Appreciate it, Melissa. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. This has been the gift that keeps giving, and no way I'd rather spend my birthday. So good luck, everybody out there, and peace out. Till next time. Keep taking care of each other out there.